broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Got a big crowd in there.
Yeah, totally. Maybe everybody's fashionably late.
Oh, Megan is joining the crowd.
Hey, Megan.
Oh,
everybody's cutting it close to the last minute here.
look at that. Tardy for the party. So we're just waiting for a few more attendees to pop on before we get started. So we're just going to give them a couple grace period minutes. So we can see you guys, but we can see you. You can ask us questions by typing it in. You just can't talk.
Yep, correct. I can talk. I'm the voice of God.
Is this all closet work people? Anybody?
No, surprisingly, when I look through the attendee list, not so much, which is good to see. So for those who aren't closet work people, I don't think Sandy is. Sandy, I think you're not a closet works. Bronwyn, I don't think either. Is that right?
Type your answers in chat. Nobody wants to talk to us.
No. I wouldn't either. Who'd want to talk to me?
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, how many are registered right now? 17?
17. So we're
All right.
We're 7.
We're at 7. Okay. Oh, there's a question.
No, just Sandy saying he's not Closet Works.
Oh, okay. Oh, Inspired Closets, Pittsburgh.
How is a closet market in Pittsburgh anyways? I'm going to force you to keep typing, Sandy.
Hi, Amy. I need your cell phone number.
Well, just like that.
What's that button? Oh, Sandy said rocking. Oh, Amy sent me her phone number. I need that.
I'm totally going to text her as well. Text her pictures of my dogs. Like I do with everybody I know. Assuming it's a cell phone.
So again, we're still waiting for a few tardy people. We're about halfway there. Just giving it a couple more minutes for some more to log on.
So we'll do our best when we are not talking, being Wendy and I, and you'll see pictures of us shortly. I'll try to mute my microphone because my dogs, I'm at my house right now. I use webinars as an excuse to leave work early. And so I come home and I have better internet because my shop internet sucks. So if my dogs bark, hopefully it happens when my microphone is muted. If not, I apologize in advance. They're very cute dogs, but they are maniacs.
Well, you will hear my dogs as well because I work from home and mine are insane as well. So we're going to give it one more minute, guys. Just give everyone to 4:05 because we're still missing some stragglers. And
Okay, sorry, I just had to take a phone call there. While we wait for a few last minute stragglers, I am logged in and muted. Amy says, yep, that's how it's supposed to be. I don't think we can.
No one's allowed to talk to us.
Yeah, only we're allowed to talk. You can text though, but everybody sees it.
You can type in your question. We'll read the question unless you're just making fun of us. We won't read that out loud. And then we can answer it out loud for everyone to hear. But you can talk to us, or you can message us in either questions or
the chat. But the chat everybody sees. Questions only.
Oh, good, because Amy's on a boat. We might hear the geese. Nice. Amy gets extra credit if she's logging in from a boat. Okay, so 4:05, Sean, let's get started.
Okay. Yeah. Why waste any more time? So we, well, as the slide you see on your screen, or hopefully on your screen, says everything you want to know about level 2 certification testing, and probably some random talkings of stuff you don't want to know, but you might be entertained anyways.
Tim gets extra credit as well because he's on an island in Florida.
Is nobody working right now?
Apparently not. Now, what we want to start this off by just saying we are all volunteers. We inherited this. So level 1 is actually on its 3rd release, and level 2, even though it's only just been released, is already on its 2nd release. So we've revised it twice already. It took 5 years from previous groups to work on it, and then we finally completed it. Our next task that we're going to be working on is working on continued education. As we go on and the industry evolves, the test will evolve and be tweaked, and certain things will make more sense. We just couldn't do it all at once, but we are working on that. And the best way, if you have tips, advice, whatever, it is appreciated. Just keep in mind we are volunteers. I'm a designer. Sean's an owner, designer, installer. He does it all, and master webinar dude. So volunteer your time, get on a committee, join the board, and we can take all the help we can get. But just keep in mind, this is a volunteer thing. So we are doing our best, and that's about it.
Yeah, a couple of people did mention getting cheat sheets or more standardized things. And yeah, if you have some free time and want to volunteer, we will gladly accept your help, because we can't do it all ourselves, and we have to kind of prioritize what is important for here and now, and what we can postpone. And sometimes the list of stuff that gets postponed gets very long. So if you have some free time and you want to help, by all means, we will gladly welcome you with open arms and accept it. So
right. Level 2 is basically, if you've taken level 1, you should be able to pass level 2 because you should know your stuff. But it is small details that we'll help you with getting refreshers on, and maybe it's something that you don't normally do in your everyday design world, but you should have a general knowledge of. And again, it's not steadfast stuff, just like level 1. It's industry standards or guidelines. So maybe your drawer front's not 7.5 inches, maybe it's 11 7/16, but you get the gist of it. It's a general guideline, just to keep us all on the same page.
There actually was an email that came out, and I think the person who sent it will know who they are, about getting a list of all the line drilling heights, and I got thinking about that, and I don't think it's actually feasible, because everybody would potentially have a different finished panel height and therefore a different hole spacing pattern. So you would want to talk to your company about that. So for instance, like for me, my very top hole is 11 millimeters down from the very top. And then the next one is 40 millimeters down from the top. And then the 32 mil system starts repeating every 32 mil thereafter. But those top 2 holes are in strange spots. So for me, I can give you my specs, but they might not match up to yours, so you don't want my specs.
Right, and our specs have all of our machines were converted to inches, and I'm familiar somewhat with Canaries as well as my former companies, and even though both are millimeters, they're still totally different. So that's a little tough getting that on a complete standard.
Millimeters are different? They should be the same for.
But like you start your drill down a few inches.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I
But
can. I
anyway,
can.
let's get started so people can drink.
Right. Okay. So here's that's Wendy at the top, and that's me, Sean, at the bottom. Um, yeah, you probably may have seen us, maybe not. Who knows? What we are hoping to cover is a very good thing for people who attended the sneak peek of the design challenges and what you can prepare yourself for. The scoring sheet for the design challenge, so you know how we mark you, so you can then plan accordingly. If you can screen grab it when we do it, you are in a good shape. If not, then
Or we can email it to you. Just contact us.
oh, okay, fine. I was going to be mean, but you can be nice. Inches to
We will,
millimeter
anything
conversion.
we put on this, eventually all these graph papers and all these different things will be into the files on our website.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so you can download it there. So I
Yes.
think there are some people who can't make it today, so they can get it. They can
Right. This is being
rewatch it.
recorded.
Yes. So we're going to talk about Murphy beds, keyboard trays, building in front of an electrical panel, countertop overhangs, crown molding, and I make note saying I'm Canadian, so I use a U in moldings and words like neighbor, and then wire closets, which everybody hates, but at this point in your career, you probably have done them or have been exposed to them, and at least should be able to talk about them and know how they work and why they are so crappy and why people should get laminate. So, as I said, no particular order. So the first thing we're going to bring up is electrical panels. There are a number of questions on the test regarding electrical panels. And the only important code is the one I have boxed out that says don't build in front of electrical panels of 600 volts or less, which is every residential application you're ever going to come across. You're never going to have high power three-phase stuff. So we've all done it, I'm sure. I know I've done it, where I've put a hanging bar or something across, and I just tell the people, say, look, when you need to get into your safe or into your electrical panel, just brush everything out of the way. In my own garage, I have a cabinet over top of my electrical panel because I don't want to look at an electrical panel. I want to look at fancy cabinets. And you're not supposed to. Just so keep that in mind.
You will not pass code and you will not pass the test.
Yeah. Well, you might, but you'll get
Well, you might.
You'll get that one wrong. Yeah. Next is a chart, and you can see that it's fractions, decibels, and millimeters. And again, you should kind of all know these things. So, 25.4 millimeters is 1 inch, or 1 if you're a fraction, one whole number. I know I jump between. I'll talk Wendy, then you can kind of finish up. But I know I jump between. I talk to my supplier and I say, look, guys, I need a shelf that's 610. But the customer, I say I need a 24-inch shelf. So you need to know kind of how to jump back and forth. For the common ones, you don't need to know 29/64ths. I don't know 29/64ths, and I never want to. But it's important to know these things.
I know I keep a cheat sheet with me at all times when I'm working. Amy Canary, she has one saved right on her desktop. When you do your test, you don't have to have this memorized. There will be a code that 1 inch or half an inch equals X, and then you have to figure out the fraction. There is a lot of math on this, but it's not difficult math. It's math that, as a designer who's been designing as long as we all have, you should be able to figure this stuff out pretty easily. So don't be afraid of this test.
Yeah, this chart is really overwhelming because it has 65 numbers on it. And you don't need to know a 64th. I work in eighth of an inch, so I only know 8 different numbers, and I know those eighth inch numbers in fraction, decimal, and some millimeter, like 4 of those I know in millimeters, the important ones. But you should know it. You should, as a designer, I think what's the requirement? 5 years or 10 years to be at this level?
No, 5 years. 10 years is master.
Okay, so 5 years. So, if you've survived this long, you're doing something right. And you probably know these things already, but it's worth mentioning again because it's on the test. Next is wire closets. There are some questions on wire closets. I think the test is 100 questions, and you may or may not get wire questions, but you should know about the stuff. So, kind of, I did little point form things here saying Rubbermaid and ClosetMaid are the two biggest. Both of them sell an identical wire, and it's all steel wire with an epoxy rubbery coating on it. 12-inch, 16-inch, 20-inch are the most common depths, but I think there's even a 9-inch for linen. And there are some where the tines are closer together, like in linen shelving or pantry shelving, but it's usually 1 inch apart. They come in 12-foot lengths to dealers. So if you buy from ClosetMaid, you can order 12-foot lengths that they'll drop off on your doorstep. Or if you do retail, then it's usually 4, 6, or 8, and they just sell the 12-inch length to Home Depot, who then just cuts it up into a smaller length and sells it. And believe it or not, it's LEED certified. So I don't know whatever happened to LEED certification, if it's even still a thing, but it was. And so they went and got certified for wire. So you could do wire in your house that's environmentally friendly.
So that's probably another webinar, because the LEED certification just came out, and by June, which is next month, a lot of this stuff has to already be taken place with Title VI. But we can do that in another webinar.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Good to know. What I love about wire is it's not secured into studs. It actually is meant to go between the studs into the drywall, and then people overload it and it falls down, and then they call me, and so we go out and we sell them closets. So I love it. I think it's the best thing ever, and I'm more than happy to take people's money. The end cap. So the picture you see here on the top right is the end piece which supports the wire, and it is if your wall is, say, 72, you would cut your wire at 71, and each end cap takes up half an inch of space that you would do. So that may or may not be a question. I'm just pointing it out that you should know this. Production builders love this stuff because it's super cheap. And up here in Toronto, it's something insane, like $3 a linear foot people are charging to install it for builders. And they'll just do subdivision houses and mass produce it. And it's, as I said, it's crap. But when it falls down, they call me, and I love it. This wire, adjustable wire, is less crappy. It gets attached to a rail at the top of the closet, and then the standards, which would be the vertical pieces you see in the picture on the left and the right, that's what supports everything. And you can support a wire shelf, or you can support a laminate shelf. When customers call me and say, hey, I want wire, I kind of say, if you want laminate, we'll help you out. And I explain the benefits of each one, and I say why you want laminate versus wire. But this is the do-it-yourself product. If the budget doesn't allow for laminate, this is great, but it's still not very great compared to laminate. And you can have drawers, you can have shelves, but you just don't have the same flexibility and accessories. The aftermarket world isn't nearly as big for wire as it is laminate, so a lot of the cool accessories that everybody sells don't work with this stuff as much, at least.
So even though it doesn't seem necessary, this is the history of the closets, where everything came from. I guess it's after California closets and then the cheap knockoff. So you do need to know this information so that you can answer the questions, well, why do I want yours instead of this? You can't just know your product. You have to know the other product as well.
Yeah, totally. I don't do any wire at all. I hate it.
Same here. I think I've done it twice.
Yeah, I think it's amazing because it falls down and I can sell them laminate, but I can, when someone says, hey, I want a wire closet, then I'll tell them why they don't or why they shouldn't, and then they can make the call, and hopefully they want laminate. But, everybody should know this. After 5+ years in the biz, you probably know a little bit about it. This is just a refresher. Crown molding. So when you're doing crown molding, you obviously need to stagger depth and heights if you're going to have different cabinets. So you can see the Murphy bed picture that I drew up. I have a lower side cabinet that's deeper, and nobody wants to see an end, the rough raw end of the crown molding as I put the square around. So the picture on the right kind of highlights how you can get around that by having some cabinets go taller and they can have returns going back to the back wall, and then the lower cabinets, which aren't as deep, can have just a straight cut piece going across. And so it makes it doable. Now, there is a way to cheat, and you can do a filler piece, and you can have the return die into the filler piece, but it would look funny if you just had a random filler piece between some cabinets that your lower, deeper cabinets die into. So that is why these two slides are in here. And then to figure out the length of crown molding you need, we're going to do some math. And you can see the picture on the left is, we can assume it's a Murphy bed with false panels, we'll say. And the middle cabinet is 65 inches. Each side cabinet is 18 and 18, which is why my math up here shows 18, 65, 18, which gives you a total length of wall space of 101 inches. Now, the crown molding needs to have returns on it as well, and that would be 12 inches for the very right cabinet to go from the corner to the back wall, and then the middle cabinet is 16 inches deep, so that's where the 12 plus 16 plus 16 comes from, to give you 44 inches of space, of additional length. And then you've got 3 corners to deal with, and each corner requires 6 inches of additional crown molding material because you need to miter the corners, and it that gives you another 18 inches. So a total of 163 inches of crown molding you would be using. But since crown molding generally comes in an 8-foot length, and there are some that come in 9-foot lengths, but I think most companies will only sell 8 because it's easier to ship. You need 1.7 lengths of crown molding. Or in my case, when we price jobs, I tell my designers, I say, look, if we need 1.1 length, we're selling 2 lengths because we can't necessarily use the other portion of the length. I'll stick it on the shelf in the shop and hopefully we can use it at some point, but you're basically selling a customer 2 lengths of crown molding whether you use it or not. So when you're figuring this out, you kind of need to know how total linear space you need plus the corners and divide that by what your crown molding comes in. So it's some math.
Tim has a question.
Okay. We got a couple questions. Amy Canary says, it almost fell on me once in a closet. I'm guessing that was the wire she's talking about because wire sucks.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, are you able to use your arrow? Okay, I don't know. Can you see my arrow, Tim, on my screen? I'm kind of moving it around here.
Oh, yes. He wanted you to point out when you were talking about each
level. Right, so this area here is 18 inches, and this area is 18 inches. And then this middle piece is 65. So that's where the 18, 65, and 18 comes from. And then the 12, 16, 16 comes from this being 12 inches deep and this being 16 inches deep. And then the other side over here is 16 inches deep, which gives you 44 inches of additional length of crown molding needed. And then this corner is your first, this corner is your second, and this corner is your third. So those 3 corners are is where the 18 inches comes from. So each miter requires 3 inches of crown molding to make the 18. Now there is also the note of saying if you have crown molding that's like 9 inches tall, then you need to change your calculations a little bit. But most crown molding that I do, I buy mine from Primolay, and most crown molding I do, the 6 inches works for my lengths. And again, if I'm at 1.99 lengths of crown molding I need, I'm just going to round it up to 2 and assume I probably need a third, because if we miscut something, or we just we have to put a filler piece in on the very side wall, something's just a little bit too close for my comfort, and I don't like to ever go back two jobs because it cost me too much money to send guys back. So does that make sense, Tim? All my arrows, if that all showed up?
So in a nutshell, you're taking the overall width of the cabinet plus 3 inches. Then you're taking the depth of the cabinet plus each inch. So that's why you're getting 6 inches per corner. But your width plus 3, because that's the crown molding extending out for the cut, and then the depth plus 3 for the crown molding extending out for the cut again.
Yeah, so Tim does say, yep, it makes sense. Anybody else before we jump along here? Anybody have questions regarding this?
Okay, moving on.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
We can always go back.
Yeah, we can. If you, anytime there's a question, jump in. We will try to look at it more often. Okay, next is Murphy beds.
Murphy beds.
Yeah, so there are a number of questions on the test regarding Murphy beds, and we could have a webinar on Murphy beds, and maybe we should. But there's vertical queen, horizontal queen, vertical twin, horizontal twin. There's the bed ones, like the single beds, I think that Hayfla does, the bed desk thing. There's ones that are spring counterbalanced, or the hydraulic pistons, like what Richelieu sells. I've never seen a King one, but I'm sure someone's rigged one up in the past. But if you have a King Murphy bed, maybe you should just buy a bigger house. But that's not why we're here. So the bed, a queen bed, as you probably all know or should know, is 60 by 80. So the average width is going to be 58 to 64, depending on whether it's going to be a double or a queen. And even though a queen is 60, you still need a little bit of space in addition to that for the cabinet. So that's where, when I move my mouse here and say the width, depending on bed size, is 58 to 64, this would be for a vertical bed. And the height is between 81 and 84. And you could build it up higher, but the feet don't really accommodate it. So you'd have to get creative on machining that. And then I guess in theory, you could do a bigger, taller cabinet and have just a blank fascia in the front of it. But you don't need to go any more than the 81 to 84 if you want a true Murphy bed. And then the top panel usually closes on that piece. And then the minimum depth is 16 inches. And I have never seen one less, so I went with that. And I believe that's what the testing goes by as well, because that's kind of the industry minimum standard. So you should know these numbers. These three: depth, height, and width. You should know. Okay. Any questions? Nope, none. Going once, going twice. We'll come back. Countertop overhangs. So if you're doing countertop with a radius corner, and assuming it's a fairly tight radius, like 2 inches or something, then you need to do 1.5 inch from the front edge, or 3/4 inches more than the door. So the front edge being the cabinet itself, whether it's a desk or could be a closet, say a hutch or something. And the most doors are 3/4. I think some of the ones I do are 21 millimeters big. Some of the 5-piece ones from Primale, but 1.5 is kind of the radius that you should stick to. 1.5 is the overhang you should stick to if you're doing a radius. And again, I will say that some of the questions were inherited, so we can probably get really picky on this, but this is what we're going to stick with for now, and it's important to know. Square footage. I have never used this necessarily in my career, other than when we do garages, but my laser tape measures tell us what square footage is, so we can figure that out. But if you have to do square footage of, say you're pricing out something and you're doing it by the square foot, whether you say you're doing a veneer, a walnut veneer or something, and you take your width and your length. So say you're doing a sheet of wood that's 4 feet by, or 6 feet, 4 feet by 8 feet, they come in usually, 32 square feet. You would do 96 for the length by 48, which would give you, nope, never mind. You would divide that by 144. So you would have 4,608 square inches in a sheet of wood, and you divide that by 144 because you're dividing by the square inch, and that gives you 32 square feet. You could also, without getting too nerdy on you, you could do 8 feet by 4 feet, which would give you the same kind of numbers. And you would divide that by 12, actually, because you're doing it by square foot opposed to square inches. So I don't know, Wendy, do you ever use this stuff in your?
All the time.
Do you really? Oh, shit.
All the time. Yeah.
Well, then you talk about this. I never do.
No, it was fun watching you stumble through it.
Yeah.
Length times width divided by 144, especially if you're doing, you have to do a Formica countertop or somebody wants a granite. Now we're doing we were just looking into lighting up countertops, and you need to know what the square footage of that piece that you're going to be lighting up is. So square footage all the time. Tim, all the time, says Tim. So good rule of thumb, length times width divided by 144 square footage.
But it's only length times width in inches, though.
I mean, almost everyone in the closet industry in my business, my side of the world, is doing inches.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because we like to annoy the installers.
What do they
All
work?
inches.
What are your guy installers working?
Millimeters. Actually, no, mine work in inches. My old installers worked in millimeters. So then we had to calculate back.
Huh.
That's why we have the Haefele tape measure, because it has all those
Has both.
length,
Yeah.
inches and millimeters.
Yes.
And then I have the handy dandy cheat sheet.
That we showed earlier.
That's right.
Right. Okay, well, apparently I don't ever do the stuff, so I don't know what I'm talking about. So, here we go. Keyboard trays. I didn't know people still used keyboards, but they do. And keyboard trays extend 10 to 12 inches out from the desk. So if you had a desk that was 24 inches deep and your keyboard tray extended, say, 12 inches, you would be at 36 inches. So you need to know that, because if you are building, say you're doing an office with a desk in the center and you're doing cabinets in behind, you then need to plan enough room for the cabinets in behind plus the person to sit there comfortably with the keyboard, because you don't want the chair back up against the cabinets and then the person's keyboard's sticking under their stomach and they're typing all funny.
Getting carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, you don't want that, I hear. So you need to know this stuff, 10 to 12 inches as well.
I probably do a keyboard tray like 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah, with like laptops and stuff, who use keyboards nowadays.
But a level 2, you should know all the you should know it.
Yeah, we do some commercial applications. We have a couple businesses that call us because they have budgets and they need to spend it. So every year they call us and say we need to do something, and we are happy to accommodate them. So we do it a couple times a year too. Not very common. Haefele sells a very nice keyboard tray, but it does. You do need to know what it extends out. Oh, here we go. So pay attention. Screenshot it or come back to it at a later date. But this is one of the design challenges that I'll be sneaky and say you may or may not get. There's a random selection.
No, there's not. You will be doing every single one of these design challenges.
Okay, you're going to do them all, so pay attention. It's a garage. It's a lot of stuff. I only did the overhead view, but when you get them sent to you, they will have each elevation view of each wall. It will show where the windows are, the heights of the windows. It shows plugs. It shows wall obstructions. It shows vents, I believe. It's very detailed. A lot of time went into this to figure this out. And
the requirements themselves are somewhat general because every client is going to be different. We just want you to think and just show the work.
Yep. Yeah.
Go ahead, you can go on.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, just show the work. So that's the garage. That's that. Dressing room number 1. It doesn't show it in here, but this one has angled ceilings. I think the side walls are up at 60. So wall number, I don't know, the very left wall and the very right wall. I'm not sure what the label does. They have angled ceilings, so the total wall is like 65 inches or something, and it slopes up. So it's one that you got to get creative on, but it's doable, very doable. So you can see a couple hampers, a couple valet rods, jewelry trays, a safe, mirrors, bench seat. So yeah, pretty cool. Next is this one, huge pain in the ass because of this area up here, but you could do some cool stuff with it. Oh, someone says, Tim, can you explain the walls, which is door, which is window? Yep, let's go back. So the doors, I believe, are here.
I got this one.
Okay.
Because I've redone this times. So you're not just gonna get the floor plan. You're gonna get wall by wall for each thing. This is a 3-car garage. So 85, 84, and 83 are the garage doors. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see each wall individually. Those will be windows. And then on the back wall, there's a central vac and stairs. You can put the refrigerator wherever you want to put it, but there are outlets in there. And then there's a small brick knee wall on there, just enough to be annoying. But you will see, you won't just get the floor plan, you will get everything. After you pass your test, you will get all of these design challenges. And you won't just have the floor plan, you'll have wall by wall.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you have a question, just call me. And I will not give you my number.
Oh, it's in the slide. You can't not do it.
Just kidding. All right, go on.
So I only did the overhead view to kind of give a little sneak peek of what you're going to see on the test. But when I printed them out, it's like 40 pages of stuff because it's very detailed and very thorough. There shouldn't be any surprises or any assumptions as to where stuff could possibly go. It's very thought out because, again, it was inherited. The first set for the first level was inherited, so it was very vague. So this time it was not very vague, and it's very thorough as to where everything should be. And we all had to do them, and we all had to kind of find errors with it. And everybody, that's how we got to these end things. So I'd be lying if I said it's not 100% foolproof. You may find another error, but it's pretty darn thorough. So you should be able to do it without much.
You're welcome to join the committee and make changes for phase 3.
Yeah, but you'll all the plugs are labeled, all the windows are labeled with very thorough measurements. So it's very, very good. It's tremendous, as Trump would say. Dressing room.
Angled ceilings.
So same thing. It's got the angled ceilings. It doesn't show it here, but so this area here is angled, and this area here kind of angles up to the top where it's got like a cathedral ceiling. So the overhead view does not show it, but the elevation views do show it. Dressing room, same thing. There's different angled ceiling heights. I think back here I want to say it's 85. Maybe it's 96 actually, and up at the front is 108. I'm going by memory, but it's got some funky stuff too. And it's just all there to really force you to get creative. And then this thing,
door swing.
What's that?
All right, Tim, you can join the next board and put the door swing on this one. It's a double door.
It's got pocket doors. How about that?
Will that matter? No, don't worry about the door swing.
Yeah, it won't matter in this one. It's 10 feet across, 10 feet 1 inch. So if the person has to walk around the door, it's doable.
No, it matters if it opens in and he wants to put a design all the way at the end of the wall. Oh, don't worry, pocket doors are on this. Did you put pocket doors in the slideshow?
No, I didn't. No pocket doors.
When you submit this, you're supposed to do a little bit of a write-up, and you can put in your explanation, client's doors are opening in, so we started our cabinet 12 inches to the right. Or you can say client's doors are opening out, or the client's closet is so fabulous they have no doors. Put it in your explanation. You can be, you can have a little bit of carte blanche with that.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good one. You can get away with a few things if you explain around it and explain why you did it. Because when we look at the test, and if there's something glaringly wrong with it and there's no reason why it's glaringly wrong, we take off points. But if you explain it and say, for instance, hey, we didn't, as totally an example, you probably wouldn't do it here, but if you said, hey, we didn't go wall to wall because they're renting this apartment and we didn't want to put filler pieces ascribed to the wall because we're going to damage the wall, we would probably not take points off. But if you didn't do a filler piece and you left the gap at the end wall, we would take points off. So as long as you can explain why you did what you did, you're totally cool. Tim says dressing room plan view has no windows, but elevation will. I don't believe this dressing room has a window, Tim.
No windows.
No windows.
And of all the designs I've corrected on these, I've never seen two designs the same. So it's actually pretty fun watching what people come up with all these. Be creative. Get you extra points.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Office. Oh, hey, door swing. Look at that. There you go, Tim. All you. Door swing swings in. So there's an office, and as you know from the previous slide, keyboard trays slide out. So if you're going to use one, plan accordingly. This one has a window right here. And again, there's plugs everywhere in the elevation view. So it will explain what you need to know, what's on each wall, so you can plan accordingly. Living room, living entertainment area. So this one has a lot of stuff in it as well. The list is actually not that bad. It looks really busy, but it's once you get down to it, it actually gets knocked away pretty quick. So
this one, this is a design that we inherited, and it's actually kind of city living. So you're almost picturing yourself in a loft, and they have the dining area, living room area, and so that's kind of what you're looking at. Why a lot of us are having to come up with some of these obstacles and building built-ins, because it's not just closets, as we know. That's why we want to make sure you're not just designing closets for your tests. We want to see all these new things from you. Go on.
I was eating some of my olives for my martini. Okay. Here we go. So the money shot, as they say. This is what we go by. So there's the test part of it, which is, Amy says that would be a fun discussion at a future cabinet closet meeting. Okay. Wasn't it? That was a question. Comment. This is what we go by when we market. It's not secret or anything. So you get points for completing the 10 designs. You get points for noting obstacles. If you have a garage design, which you might, and you have to plug a fridge in, which you might, if you put it in the middle of the garage where there's no plug, you're going to lose points. So if you put it on a wall where it's near a plug, you get your points for it. And you could say, hey, we're going to put the fridge in the middle of the garage. We're going to run an extension cord down from the ceiling. And that's totally cool. That's how you can kind of get around doing oddball things, as long as you explain it. So this is what you want to kind of think about as you're designing. And again, as I jump back, if you just go down the list and check them off as you go, display area, serving area, living area, homework station, and then you're in here when you're scoring it, or when we're scoring it, in your explanation, if you say, hey, the homework area is also going to be the serving area, kid's gonna pull up a stool and sit there and do his homework, then that's totally cool. So think about this and think about the point form list of what you need to go through to accommodate everything in each room or each area. That's it. Nothing else.
Oh, we do have a homework assignment for you.
Oh, we do?
There is a question
Yes.
in regards to the pull down rods and how far they extend. So we can't give you all the answers, but what we want you to do is pull out a Rev-A-Shelf book and kind of calculate how much space is required to have a pull down rod. You're going to want to look at the depth of your cabinet, how far that rod comes down, and then don't forget your clothing is going to extend into the room as well. This is a test on the question if you get one of these randomized tests. All the tests are randomized, so you might or might not get this. But if you open up a Rev-A-Shelf book, the graph is there. So we're not going to give you the answer on that one, but we're going to check and see if you did your homework and passed that question.
Yeah, Richelieu as well. That's who I go to. Their site is pretty, it's pretty aces when it comes to that stuff.
Mhm.
And it shows all the drawings and related documents. And yeah, again, if you've been in the biz for 5 years, you've probably done a pull down rod or been asked about it, or been asked by a customer how to take advantage of 12-foot high ceilings. So you probably should know it if you don't already. So
Right, there are math questions in there with regards to you have a ceiling a certain height. How are you going to use that space? And it gives you options. Are you stacking cabinets? Are you, and I'm not going to keep going because we can't, again, a lot of it's common sense. As an experienced designer, you should be able to get.
Yep. Cool.
Anybody have questions? Questions, comments, concerns?
And if you have any questions, you can reach out to either of us. Again, I will jump back a bunch of slides. Let me go back to it here.
Best way to prep was what you just did now. So far, everyone that has taken the test, Amy, has passed it because they know their stuff.
Look at that spelling mistake right there. How embarrassing. Fix that. Jesus.
That's all right. My office isn't in Bound Brook either. That's my old office.
What? Oh my God, how embarrassing.
That's all right. Now, you don't be afraid of this test. If you know your work, there's some math calculations in there. Anything that's tricky that is, like Murphy beds. A lot of people don't do Murphy beds or the wire rack. So things that you don't deal with every day, that's what we tried to cover. Some technical aspects, we just wanted to put those in there just to give you a help. But yeah, you can call us. Oh, our phone numbers aren't on there.
No, email is.
Email us. If I like you, you already have my phone number.
Yeah. Yeah, the test isn't difficult. I took it. I passed. I didn't give it much thought, but it was all things that you know from just being in the business for this amount of time. And it's if you think about stuff logically, as I said, things like don't put stuff over electrical panels. It's going to catch on fire. So as long as you kind of think properly, know what you can do and what you can't do, whether it's code or product limitations, then you can probably do pretty well on the test, on the choice test.
Have a calculator, have a notepad. If there's something glaring that because we've gone over this again, this is the second edition of it, yet we never even put out the first one. It's been revised multiple times. It's always good to have fresh eyes. So if there's something you feel that you think should be on this test, or if you feel is a question that's maybe the industry has altered and it needs to be changed and taught a different way, shoot us an email, let us know, and we're open to your outside opinions Just remember, we are volunteers, so don't slaughter us. We good?
I think
No
so.
more.
No questions. Oh,
Oh, wait. Okay. We will be able to use you can use your calculator sheet, your calculation sheet, of course. But on the question that has the conversion from millimeter to inches, it actually gives you the code. If X millimeters equals X inches, what is this?
well, this should be
So
25.4 millimeters to the inch.
we give you the code, but if you have your calculation sheet, no one's going to know if you're cheating. Although I think everyone from ClosetWorks is going to be with Janet, but Janet won't know.
Even my Canadian tape measures are 25.4 millimeters to the inch. That was a joke.
I'm like, I don't even, it's like foreign language. It's almost time for my cocktail.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
Don't be afraid of it. You shouldn't fail it. If there were a reason that you failed it, I get a hold of the answers that you didn't pass, then this definitely has not happened. We've had quite a few take level 2 already, no problems. Level 1, that there were issues and we just sat down with them and explained what they missed and why, and maybe it was just a translation issue, and then there was a retake and there was no problems. So far, everyone who's taken this level test has been in the mid 80s. So, that seems to be the average going right now. So
and
don't be afraid. And plus, you guys all got a study guide.
80 is the pass? Just so everybody knows.
No, I think I want to say 75 is the pass. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, during the test, that's still Tim's. There's no more questions, right?
No, nothing.
Okay. So if nobody else needs anything, you get out of class 10 minutes early.
There you go.
Look, Tim spelled thank you wrong.
He must be Canadian. I'll say, Tim, you had a very good test last for the level 1. It was very detailed. You noted everything. It was a pleasure to mark.
Oh, and so keep in mind, we understand you guys have a CAD department, so you're doing your own designs for our benefit of this, and we get that. So just please put your explanations on there. We had to have a couple translations going so we could figure out what was happening. So just keep that in mind. But the more you explain, the better. When we did level 1, we actually counted every single shoe, every single square footage of, not square footage, linear footage of hanging. So we literally go over this as a committee to make sure it's, we agree. Like maybe Eric doesn't like something, but Sean can explain why it does work. And then instead of, docking 2 points, we only dock 1 point, So we are trying to be fair when we correct it.
Yeah.
But be detailed when you explain it. And remember that we have no idea what you're drawing because we don't, how Sean designs compared to how I design, it's completely different with regards to, well, what is, I guess you guys use a funny acronym for a tie rack. Well, what is that? So Denise stepped in. Oh, that means tie rack. So, just keep in mind that explain it like you're explaining it to your client. And, don't just use, VPL. What does that mean, vertical panel left? So explain it like you're explaining to your client. That's how we need our explanations. Sell us. Oh, there's a question. Will we know what we got wrong on the test? No. Just kidding. If you don't pass, you'll know. Do you want to know? Tim?
I think, Wendy, I think Janet does have...
Jan, it takes time to go through, and I had actually asked her to go through and find out what everyone, if I wanted to see if everyone was missing the same stuff or the same questions to get in the 80s. I haven't gotten that answer yet because it does take a little bit of time. But that can be one of our jobs. We'll figure out what everyone's missing. Case by case. So we can't do it for everybody because it takes time, and we pay for Janet. So we can figure out if everybody's missing the same question, then we got to revisit it and maybe revamp that question. But yeah, Tim, we can take a look and see if you got something wrong and why, and we can kind of go through some of them. just not everybody, because it's going to be a little time consuming. And some of us have quotas we have to meet.
Yeah, yeah, more for us to know if, as you mentioned, if everybody gets the same question wrong, maybe it needs to be reworded or
Education on it.
yeah, or do some sort of education to explain.
Now moving forward, the other thing we're going to start doing, so our biggest focus has been, they've been working on, the previous committees have been working on this for 5+ years. So we did a lot of work, we got this finished. The next step that we're going to be working on is continued education. So just to give more validity to everything that you guys are doing by taking these tests and showing that you're certified, it's not just take a test and I'm done. It's going to be continued education. We're going to have points similar to CEUs, where you're going to want to, in order to keep your certification, you'll have so many CEUs, which means a webinar or something educational, so that you can continue and keep validating or validating what's going on. So we're working on the webinars now. We're working on what exactly we're going to do with regards to CEO, the continued education credits, CEUs, whatever it is. Working on all that. And again, if you would like to help, more the merrier. Because again, it takes about an hour to correct one person's set of design challenges. So any help you'd like to give us with regards to, the more we succeed as an industry, it helps each of us succeed individually, or however that works. You know what I mean. Anyway, volunteer your time.
What's the saying? High tides raise all the boats or something?
Something like that. Oh, what's this? Casanova. So there will be a test followed by the design sets to be turned in later. Yes. How long do we have to get the designs in? We give you 6 weeks. Last time, if there's an issue, just let us know you need more time. That's not a big deal. We just don't want it to get lost. I know Closet Works last year, when they did the whole group, had some issue because it was the CAD department versus everybody hand drafting. So we did give extension. It's not a hard 6 weeks. So, if you need longer than that, don't worry about it. And you don't get the design challenges until you pass your test.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really overextended their time.
Yeah, they did. No offense, all Closet Works did.
Oh, well, we didn't hold it against you then.
No, we didn't penalize you for it. We just understand. Yeah, we understand, Tim. Your guys can still hand draft it. Just please explain what the stuff means, so we don't need translators.
Yeah, we were lucky that we had Denise to translate. But yeah, more explanations, the better.
Right. And we will look, even though you're hand drafting, we're going to look and see if you put filler in where it's required. If you drew the toe kick in, if there is a toe kick, we do look. You can't just, chicken scratch it out and send it. Keep in mind, you're selling it to a client. But hand draft is okay. If you need extended time, it's okay. But typically, the paperwork says 6 weeks. And then we will be working on your continued education.
Cool.
Anybody else? We have 2 more minutes. We can play drinking games. And Sean did really good. He only used 1 swear word today.
Ah, really? What'd I use?
I want to say
For a
the
second
S
there.
word. No, you got 1 in.
Yeah? All right. I'm on a roll.
It's a good roll. Well done, Sean, says Tim.
I'm consistent.
It was better than the F-bomb in level 1. It must have been your drink of choice.
Could have been. Yeah.
All right, so this is recorded. It will be on forever on our website, so people can go back through. You feel free to email us if you have questions. You can find our information on the ACSP website. If you want to give us a phone call, that's not a problem as well. At least for me, I don't care if you call me. and have your people get through and fill out their profiles on their ACSP website, because that's just one more place that you're out there that people can find you.
Yeah, totally. So I think it's all about validity. And
Correct.
if you guys want to laugh, and I shouldn't do this because it's not very nice, but there's a guy in my neck of the woods. His company's called Closets by John, and he does reach-ins for like $279, and I don't even get out of bed for $279. It's not worth it for me to send a guy out. So this guy, Closets by John, is the running joke, but he's busy. He caters to a market that works for him, not my clientele, but he works. I think, I don't know, but he shows pictures of work he's done. So I don't know how busy he is, but he's kind of the ongoing joke of the closet people in my area, because it's kind of crappy, and it's kind of fly by night, and there's no credibility to him. He's just a dude. He's in a band. He even has the band advertising on his website, and this having the certification just says like, hey, I'm legit. I'm not here. I'm not fly by night. I'm not a part-time person doing this, and I'm going to be doing something else next week. Like, I'm in it for the business. You want to buy from me because I'm going to be here. I know what I'm doing. You're going to get a great closet. I'm going to be here if there's a question, and when you move again, I'll be there again. So it's totally a good thing. So yeah, you can call us on the website. You can find us, fill out your profile. I think on the website you can actually get our phone numbers if you really
Yes.
want to call us or text us. You can find us there. I didn't do it because I wasn't sure if you wanted me to, Wendy, quite honestly.
Not,
Then I just wanted to be consistent for me. But you can call us, you can text us, you can email us, you can fill out your profile, you can be found online from customers, and you can make more money
and have street cred.
and have street
Okay.
cred. Yeah, and you get a pin. You get a fancy pin.
Oh, hold on. Tim, Wendy said to fill out our profiles. You have profiles on the ACSP website. People can go onto the website for ACSP and want to click who's certified or who's in my area that's certified, and you will come up. So we have a database if people are looking for closet designer and they want a certified closet designer, or if they just want a designer in general. But there's a difference between who's certified and who's not, and it is on the ACSP website. They just had a takeover of the website, so there could be some kinks. If there is, please let us know. We'll get it taken care of right away. But you can put your picture, you can put your company profile logo on there, you can have your email, your phone number. Believe you can have a direct website link. So that is your profile on the ACSP on the ACSP website. Is it closets.org or something like that?
Yeah, closets.org. And if Janet's going to be there next week, she can probably
Ask her.
Yeah, ask her. She can walk you through it. If anything, it just get her to. We can even plant the seed to get her to kind of bring it up, but it's if she doesn't bring it up, then ask her as well. But everybody can have their own profile on the website to be found and show that you're a proper designer.
The more places you're found, the easier it is when somebody Googles you to come up. Like my company doesn't advertise, but if you Google closets in my area, my name comes up because I've done it in all these different places.
Like Bound Brook, New Jersey?
No, it doesn't come up in Bound Brook. Can we personalize? They're working on the personalization of your profile, Amy. There's something's going on with the website right now when they switched it over, that your company profile, instead of your, as the logo will come up instead of your picture. So like mine comes up as direct cabinet sales instead of my picture. So we're figuring out how to separate that. So yes, it's direct cabinet sales, but my picture is going to come up, not my company logo. So we're working that kink out. We are aware of it. Amy, are you on it as well? Not just on, ask, I'll have Janet take a look at your page for you. My profile, website, and cell phone. You should have your very own, Amy. It should be able to be put on there. If there's an issue, we're going to have you contact Janet. I'll have her take a look at it. Because yes, you should have all of your stuff on there because, yeah, you're part of your company's brand, but it's also your reputation. So you should be able to be found as Amy of the in closets, not just Canary. That's another debate. Whether you're branding yourself or you're branding your company. We'll have to do that on another webinar.
Yeah, like my new girl who's from California, she's all about branding herself, and I have no problem. I think it's fantastic. She uses my pictures, my logos on them, but she does brand herself a little bit herself. But I want people to call her directly and say, "Hey, I need this girl to do my closet," and I want customers to reach out. But as long as it falls under my umbrella and my marketing, if that makes any sense. Brand yourself under me, though.
Yeah, we'll have to have another fun debate on this one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
maybe not. Designer versus, yeah, where's your brand loyalty? We had a touch of that at the show. Yeah, Amy, if you have, we'll look into that for you, Amy. But you can definitely get your stuff on there because you should have your own page independent of John's page. Your own profile because you're the one that's certified, not John. And what does it say? Last comment, think about doing a roundtable discussion about how different designers approach the same space. So the next convention in North Carolina is going to have it's going to have us, it's going to have the Cabinet Makers Association, and we're joining forces with another one. So we're already working up different suggestions for roundtables and for education tracks. So if you have something you're interested in, shoot me an email, shoot anyone from the board an email, put it on the Facebook ACSP site. We're keeping track of all this to see what gets the most attention. And we will talk to Woodworking Magazine about, what can we do to get these subjects covered.
Yeah, I wonder if we can do something using technology to have like a roundtable webinar or something. Maybe I'll look into that.
Right. I mean, even the design challenges alone, I've seen so many different ones. I've never seen the same thing twice. And it's the same space, so it's interesting. All right, we're down to 9. Anybody else need anything? Questions? Email us, call us. No question is stupid. So, or the only stupid question is the one unasked. So give us a ring if you need anything. Don't be afraid for the test. If you know your stuff, you shouldn't have a problem. There's some math in there and a lot of common sense stuff.
Yep.
But same as last time, general rule of thumb, it's not steadfast. File drawers, file drawers is on there with regards to the smallest file drawer you can make. Think about them. It's a math question. How big is the Pendaflex? How big is your box? How big is your slide? That's the size of your shelf. So keep that in mind. Math questions. Look into a Pendaflex file. I guess we should have said that earlier. Anybody else? I think we're good.
I think we're good. No questions. Speak
Thanks for
now or
tuning
forever hold
in.
your peace. Like when I do my weddings.
You don't need to have good luck on your test because you guys are all going to pass. It's not super hard. All right, everybody's logging off. So thank you everybody for attending.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Now everybody just logs off.
Oh yeah, how do I stop it now?
I don't know, there's got to be a stop record.
I don't know.
Because 5 people are listening to you sing.
That's all right. Good for them.
Now 4 people are listening to you sing.
They're getting the show, dinner and show.
Dinner and a show.
If I close it, then we can't talk.
I know. Bummer.
Bummer.
We don't get to be the radio personalities that we once dreamed of.
I can stop recording. How about that?